Hello and welcome to US Tzu Chi 360. I'm Dilbash Hatterson. One of the main missions of the Tzu Chi Foundation is to respond to people in the suffering global village. So this time, the 360 team traveled to Colorado, where flash floods hit areas like Boulder County and beyond. The Wilderness Society loosely defines fracking as a method that extracts natural gas from rock thousands of feet underground. Being a process that'll require lots of pressure, heavy machinery, and chemicals, it's likely to have some consequences on the environment. In fact, the EPA reports that fracking has caused water contamination across numerous states. You can only imagine how much more dangerous that situation becomes when mass flooding spreads the contamination everywhere. This leaves us to think, what are the obstacles it will leave residents and government once the water is gone? Join us as our 360 team finds out in the beautiful but still very muddy Colorado.
My name is Shane Davis. I'm an environmental activist. I am the director and founder of Fractivist.com. We're going east. We got to go down towards where the river is so that we can find the damage to the oil and gas well pads. Currently in Colorado, we have about 51,000 active oil and gas wells. Every red dot on that map is an active well pad, which is the largest active density of oil and gas wells in the entire United States. So the flood that came through touched from Boulder all the way up here near Greeley and Kersey, but it also went all the way through the South Platte River and into Nebraska. Here we've got inspectors at the well pad right there. They're inspecting for any damage. So the impact, we are told that flood actually affected about 2,000 oil and gas wells. As a kid, I grew up in the environment. I lived in a very rural area, so I've attached myself to the trees and the water and everything else. I became a biologist, and now I'm an activist. So what I do is I data mine oil and gas industry's information, and I expose how many times they've failed and where they've failed. This tank right here is a crude oil tank that's been lifted up by the water and flipped over, so any of the pipes that are hooked to it have broken off. And it's right next to the river. So during that flood, the water came all the way up to their residence, wiped out that oil and gas pad, and any of the petrochemicals, the poisons, have been washed away into the river. So all of the topsoil has been removed, and now you can see the flow lines for the petrochemicals right there, the green pipe. They're highly carcinogenic, they're endocrine disrupting chemicals. It's destroying our ecosystem. The state is only talking about the equipment on top. They need to look at everything below the ground because there are thousands of miles of pipelines that move crude oil and fracking fluids underground. And so if those have broken, that means the petrochemicals are leaking into this river. In Colorado, we have heavy industry in agricultural areas like this. All the agricultural areas that use the water, all of the ranches that use their water for cattle, they're using this water that's untested. So it's of grave concern. I mean, this is a massive catastrophe that we've experienced here. Well, the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission and the Colorado governor have responded to this fairly late. We had a lot of people, meaning grassroots and activists, on the ground helping people even before our state had actually responded to it. The state should have been the first agency out there protecting and testing the water, testing the soil, protecting the animals and the environment and all the communities that were devastated. So I protect what I love, and I think everybody should because we are inseparable companions to nature.
Aside from the long-term threat of water contamination, structural damage too will not see an easy solution in the near future. The AP reports that $100 million will be the minimum needed to repair flooded roads. But what we also wonder, how much more will families need in order to repair their lives? The same report mentions that over 2,000 homes were destroyed in the floods. But what this number doesn't include are the countless and irreplaceable pieces of personal property that insurance won't cover. This list is a big one, and it includes everything from your favorite shirt to photos from your birthdays, your bedroom curtains, to even your latest pair of shoes. FEMA, or the Federal Emergency Management Agency, has approved $22.1 million in individual assistance, as per the AP. This is a huge number, but no matter how many numbers get involved, often there is little that can be made up for when a household loses nearly everything. In Colorado, our 360 team met a family of 12 that is in this particular situation. You'll see the extent of the damage to their home, what they've been able to salvage, and what they'll be able to look forward to. This is Evans, a city about an hour drive north of Denver, Colorado. There are about 200 houses that got completely destroyed by the flood, and most of the families who live inside these homes are low-income and immigrant families.
My name's Eduardo Valencia. We are currently in Evans, Colorado. It's crazy what water can do. Life after is pretty much unbelievable. Something I never thought my family would go through. I grew up here most of my life, me and all my little brothers and sisters.
I have my kids, my grandson, and my daughter-in-law. There's 12 people.
My neighbors, I'm not sure where they're at. I just came and nobody was here. I don't think a lot of people have come back yet.
We went to check and the house and everything, it was destroyed.
So this one right here, this is our trailer. Fortunately, it didn't move out of place like a lot of other trailers did. I just remember someone knocking loud on our door, like practically breaking our door in, like around 9 in the morning. And by that time, the water was already at our pretty much like a good 2 feet high. So they just told us to leave right away, because if we didn't, we would probably wouldn't have had a chance to get out. See the lines on the windows? That's how high the water went. So pretty much over our heads. I don't think you want to step in there, bro. There's so much bacteria going on in there. Yeah, pretty great damage. Close to a foot of mud. Everything's tossed and turned. It's pretty intense.
My couches, my furniture, everything. So we couldn't save nothing.
Oh, I got like 20 already, just standing here. 5 times more mosquitoes than there was before.
After the flood, the community was threatened by the West Nile virus and much more.
They wasn't depressed. The first week, my older son, they didn't want to go to the high school because they was really sad. They was affected to them. Not the little ones, because they didn't, they didn't understand really much.
This is pretty much all we have left out of all our belongings, just a little bit of shoes, headphones, a drill, a little bit of baby formula, and I don't even know if that TV works or not, but that's pretty much about it.
Well, right now it's closed. It's not available. Nobody can available to go back. I think they're gonna clean in there, but they're not gonna put more trailers in there.
Without help or financial assistance, this family, along with many others in the area, was forced to look for shelter elsewhere.
It was really hard to leave my kids in the street. We didn't have a place to stay, so the shelters, the first days, in the church and the shelters, anywhere, eating in the church. But I'm so glad that my kids, they're and safe, so it's the good part. Yay! I was crying so much. So much. Because it's really, really hard, and I know I'm a strong boy, man, but not this time. But I'm gonna try to cry myself, not in front of my kids, because I didn't want my kids to be more sad.
The residents we met in Colorado are one of countless cases that are widespread across the regions affected by the floods, even 1 month later. This is where the Tzu Chi Foundation saw the opportunity to help. From the first time Tzu Chi engaged in international relief back in 1991 during floods in Bangladesh, Tzu Chi volunteers from across the US flew to Denver, Colorado last month and traveled to Evans, Greeley, and Lyons, some of the cities most intensely hit by the storm. Who are some of the specific populations they hope to serve? According to the Urban Institute's Health Policy Center, 40 to 49% of the foreign-born population in Colorado were undocumented. This means that all affected by the floods would not necessarily receive aid from FEMA. But by holding distributions in Northeast Colorado, you'll soon see how they were able to serve 150 households regardless of immigration status, dishing out 250 scarves, 205 bamboo banks, and over $75,000 in cash cards. Let's take a look. Winter has approached Colorado, where it was hard hit by a flood never before seen in its history. Due to no Tzu Chi chapters in the area, volunteers had to fly to Colorado 3 times in 1 month to bring relief to the disaster area. On September 23rd, 12 days after the flood occurred, the first group of Tzu Chi volunteers arrived. They went to the Homeland Security Emergency Management Office to learn the parameters of the disaster and went on their first assessment mission in Evans immediately after. On October 8th, the second group of volunteers arrived in Lyons, Colorado to assess the devastation. They also worked with the Red Cross to collaborate and make the disaster relief plan happen as soon as possible. On October 19th, the third group of Tzu Chi volunteers arrived. With a total value of $100,000 in debit cards, 250 scarves, and enough manpower, the relief team took off on a dark and chilly night, heading to Greeley for distribution.
因为现在我们跟 Red Cross 在协助当中，有一些家庭呢，116户左右，不合乎一些政府的规定，他们也是求助无门。我们希望在这个几个重灾区呢，能够对这些弱势家庭他们的恢复能力比较慢需要大家的支援，我们会提供给他一个相当的在财务上给他一个相当的帮忙。
Our staff is going to be able to work with Tzu Chi to secure the location, to work with the church, and to be able to come together collaboratively to work to serve these communities.
想一下，这是双人的关心那你不用从头念到尾，没有这个时间，我要把这份关怀带到。
一次准备北加州、南加州，差不多同等距离到这个地方一起来共同配合这个来追所谓的。 这同一资源只是人力互补来做这个赈灾。
I woke up at 5 o'clock and we came here about 7. It just feels good to be able to help people who are in need.
今年你们要来赈灾、水灾，我们真的是很高兴你们来帮我们这边的人虽然很惭愧，我们帮不上忙，但是我们真的很希望说，你们需要什么，告诉我们一点点，我们很愿意从旁边资助一点点小小的力量。
This particular church, Our Lady of Peace Catholic Church, has been a place where the immigrants who were affected, who are do not have legal status and could say low income, for instance, feel comfortable to come. It's sort of a safe zone, you know.
GADO. You know, I had no clothes, I had nothing. It's really cold, you know. I mean, right now, when we were on our way over here, it was, 34 degrees, 30 degrees. You know, it gets worse. What, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
Estamos aquí solamente para expresar nuestro amor.
I had nothing else. I had nothing. Just to think that I had no home for my kids. I was alone with my 3 kids, and I had nothing now. I work in the fields right now. With the winter coming, you know, the harvest is over, so I have to look for a job.
And you lose everything you've worked all your life for, and trying just to get back on track, and you know, things aren't cheap, and everything's full, everybody's rented, there's like no storages, like it's a difficult time to find anything.
Just shoes. That's all we could get, just my shoes and my glasses. Asking for nothing but return.
I mean, I've never heard of your guys' organization, but it looks like, the sounds of it, you guys are loving, caring, out there to help, touch my life and hopefully many others.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. God bless.
Just thankful that there's people out there that can help. Because we've been through a lot, losing everything.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Good night.
Take care. Thank you.
It changed the attitude. They come with no faith, but after they see how you help them, how you show them your love, they change their mind, they change their heart, they change the day for them.
If anything, you're going to give hope to these people that they haven't been forgotten. The fact that you've come forward almost a month after the flood is very encouraging, because it's going to tell so many of these families, these approximately 200 families, that God hasn't forgotten them, and the Tzu Chi Foundation hasn't forgotten them. So, and it will give them great hope to continue on.
While many Tzu Chi volunteers recognize the level of need in Colorado, other nonprofit groups saw an opportunity to offer a hand as well. Mike Hoffman, who you've met in a previous episode, connected the dots between his experience during another natural disaster, Superstorm Sandy, and the Colorado floods. Joined by volunteers from Michigan, Mike's goal was to apply his knowledge of disaster recovery to the residents of Evans, Colorado. This had to happen fast. According to a document on post-flood mold issued by the city of Boulder, mildew and mold could develop within a home or building 24 to 48 hours after water exposure. This meant that most homes needed all wet materials out, including structural materials like sheetrock, wood framing, carpeting, etc., to avoid further damage. But unless everyone is skilled enough to remove these themselves, they'll need to pay for a contractor. This is where Mike hopes to ease that burden for flood victims. So don't be fooled by his tough exterior, as he and his team have got a lot of love to give.
My name is Mike Hoffman. I'm one of the co-founders of an organization called Yellow Boots. We're founded in Staten Island, New York. Sandy is what made us all come to fruition and go out. And we realized that we couldn't keep that kind of information that we learned to ourselves. It's Superstorm Sandy.
Superstorm Sandy?
And just take a look.
Oh, yeah.
This is something we learned. It's an ordeal we went through, and there's no reason why others have to suffer.
My name is Jeff Carroll. I'm from Lansing, Michigan.
Name's Johnny Bravo. We drove here from Michigan to help out with the demolition and, like Mike says, education.
I heard his story involved with, Staten Island, New York and Hurricane Sandy and what they went through and what they had to do to overcome and pull through it. When he proposed we come out here, I said absolutely.
We're gonna walk around the affected area and do assessments, get a lay of the land. Yeah, I'm gonna give you more than you signed up for today.
There's not?
Is that why they're just gonna bulldoze?
See, a community like this, though, would be a prime candidate for those FEMA trailers, man.
It is.
This happened weeks ago, and it looks like it was just yesterday. It's gonna be like this for weeks, months, maybe even a year.
You know, what happened in the East Coast with Sandy, as to out here, the water wasn't as high, but it was just as devastating. You can't compare disasters and say, oh, well, we had it worse than you. But there is core elements that are very, very similar. Like flooding is flooding.
You look around and it's like, wow, you see stuff is still fresh. Like these people are still cleaning their own homes. And you see these people's faces and, it hits you because they're still here.
Our goal now is to take a look at everything and bring it back home with us. The organization has a lot of people in Baltimore, California, Virginia, Boston, and once we get all these pictures, all the videos, and we let them know what's going out here, we send it to them, they gather money, and then we send the busloads out here with volunteers.
After the assessment, Yellow Boots then began to directly help the people in need.
I was telling Jeff about the night of the storm, and 3 days after, all the cars all scattered all over the place.
Why is she? You want us to rake that for you instead, ma'am? We could easily rake that for you instead of watching you do it.
Yeah, we're trying to get it out of there because it stinks. What they're doing back over here is taking the sewage is in the rocks, so we need to take the rocks out because it stinks really bad. But as far as the community being done, there's a lot to be done here.
And what people need to realize is no matter how small of an impact you make, an impact is still an impact. It's still going to take minutes off the clock on recovery and minutes off the clock on things to be done. You guys still got demo going on in here? You need some more help? We get out there, we teach safety, we teach precautions. We learned a lot about mold and different ways to prevent it. There's a whole white list of things that we can now share. Like I said, another key thing is once they get everything out to the studs, the moisture's got to be under 19%. If it's over 19%, mold grows. When the heat hits it, it spreads like wildfire. And then we have a licensed EMT with us with his credentials. So we're checking all the other crews while we're working to see if anyone's banged up, scraped or bruised. We can clean them up and dress them right on the site.
This is my medical kit that I put together for coming out here. Some of the stuff we have in here is some, bandaging supplies like tape. We just have like antiseptic wipes, alcohol wipes for cleaning.
It's another way of helping out, keeping the volunteers healthy and in shape so they can keep doing what they do. And we all got to work together. See, that's the main thing. Yellow Boots is known for working well with others. We play well with others because we know the combined efforts and collaborative efforts means faster progress.
I'm here to help out because some brothers and sisters live here, and their house got flooded, so they needed workers to come help clean up and whatever else, and so I was able to take the time off work and come help.
It's not about getting, a gold star on the checklist, It's a team effort always. You got to work with the partnering agencies, you got to work with everything that's out there, and that's what's important, Groups like your organization, our organization, if 4 or 5 organizations hit the scene and band together, and every disaster, not that it's going to get easier on your soul, but it's going to get easier to prepare and handle and to create action.
While collaboration and mutual understanding, as Mike mentions, is one of the few positives that can come out of disaster situations, the notion of anytime, anywhere is all the more threatening. According to ClimateCentral.org, Colorado had just recovered from its most destructive wildfire on record earlier in the summer, followed by a major flood caused by a never-before-seen non-stop rainfall. How can we possibly predict that even tomorrow will be safe? Historical climate records that were once references for the past are becoming increasingly trivial. While there is little that we can do to prevent immediate dangers, we can keep the intention of Tzu Chi's mission of international relief in mind. That bodhisattvas, or enlightened beings, exist to relieve the suffering of mankind. Thank you for joining us on our visit to Colorado. I'm Dilbar Shatterson, and we'll see you soon.